From whence cometh thy data? I mean, it's Joseph Michael here, and I mean, there's something very, very shallow that people do, and they do not really understand it. And when I think of it, I'm like, do these guys actually understand what you're doing at all, right? So you meet people, and then you're telling them like, you're having probably a conversation, and they're like, oh, this thing is not, you're telling them this thing is not correct, and they'll tell you, Google it, go and Google it. I'm like, okay, do you understand that the information that is put, that you find on Google, right, is actually being put there by people? Like, do you understand that? Like, it's like human beings who put this information there. And if it is human beings who put this information there, then why do you think they cannot manipulate the information, alter the information, change the information to suit whatever narrative that they want? These are the things that society would never tell you, right? They would never tell you. Instead, they would tell you, go and Google it, go and ask ChatGPT, or better still, go and ask DeepSeek, the new kid on the block. Go and ask DeepSeek. But understand that these things are being programmed by human beings. These things are being written by human beings. These code lines, this information that you're seeing there, they are bloggers. I call them the vultures of the internet. They have information, they have websites, they put these informations out there, but guess what? A naive mind will tell you, when you ask them a question, the next thing they tell you, go and Google it. Now, am I saying every information on Google is not accurate or is wrong? No, I use Google too, I do. But you need to understand that when it comes to information, there are actually 4 kinds of information. There are 4 kinds of information, and I'll explain the 4 of them to you. There's accurate information, there's misinformation, there's disinformation, and there's underinformation. I'm going to explain all 4 to you. Now, whenever you hear something online, you hear people communicating, people talking, one of the things that you should learn to do is to pass that information through these 4 things I'm about to explain to you, so that you'll be able to discern, you'll be able to think wisely, you'll be able to think more accurately, more sound, baby, more sound. So what is an actual information? Like, what does it mean for an information to be accurate? First of all, that information needs to be factual. It needs to be backed up by data. It needs to be well researched, right? It needs to be verified. It needs to be truthful. It needs to be unbiased. If an information is biased, it is not a correct information. It is not an accurate information. But guess what? There are a lot of biased information on the internet. There are a lot of information according to people's experiences that might or might not be true. But they talk about it as though it is entirely true. When you hear those kind of information, you need to ask yourself, is this an accurate information, or am I being misinformed? By the way, what's misinformation? Misinformation is an inaccurate information, basically, right? But the difference, however, with misinformation is that there is no actual intent to deceive. That's the difference. So there might be some omission, that kind of a thing. It could happen. That's misinformation. Missing information. Misinformation. And then there's disinformation. Now, you hear this popular terminology a whole lot, especially from the deep state, the media and all of that. Misinformation, disinformation, and all of that. Most of the people who actually talk about misinformation and disinformation, guess what? They are actually the perpetrators of misinformation and disinformation. Literally, I can tell you this for free. They are the perpetrators of it. What's disinformation? Disinformation many times is literally like a kind of information that is false, manipulative, and information that is intended to deceive, an information that is intended for deception, that is intended to mislead people, to manipulate people to a very strategic purpose. That's disinformation. So when you hear on the news that this thing happened, or this person did this, or this did this, you should ask yourself, am I being disinformed? Am I being misinformed? Which one is actually going on right now? And there's underinformation. Underinformation basically is more like an insufficient information, or that information is incomplete, right? It is lacking critical details. That's disinformation. That's underinformation I meant to say. So you need to ask yourself, and I'll give you some example. So they said that the earth, we're about, I think 8 billion people, if I'm not mistaken, right? If you go to Google right now and type earth population, you see 8+ billion people there. Question: if the world is 8 billion people, then why are some set of people so obsessed about about depopulation, about the population control. Why are they so obsessed about it? Why? Like literally, if you go to Google right now and then you type death, this thing, current death rate, that kind of a thing, you literally see a counter that is counting people who are dead and people who are alive. Question: the lady that had an accident, probably on my next street here, how do they know those? How does Google know that lady just died? How do they know? How do they count that as mortality rate? How do they include that? But you see a timer right there. How about language? You go to Google right now, they tell you, Google tells you there are over 7,500 languages. But I know a book. I know a book that has been translated in over 8,600 languages. Did the author of the book go to invent new languages? What am I trying to tell you? Understand accurate information. Understand misinformation. Understand disinformation. Understand underinformation. They tell you that the earth is overpopulated, there's scarcity of food. Do you know that? Do you know that for land mass alone, if the earth was to be divided according to the 8.2 billion people, over 8 billion people that we have, I meant to say, over 8 billion people that we have, if we were to divide the earth, do you know that each and every individual would have to himself at least 2.5 football-sized pitch, football-sized field? Each person will have, land mass without aquatic bodies. So tell me, where is the scarcity of food? What's actually going on? So you need to understand, and I'm literally telling you, if all your source of information, if all the source of information you have is Google, AI, all of those stuff, you are literally doomed. Like, you are literally doomed. You need to learn to research for yourself. You need to learn to ask some very important questions, critical questions. See, you are called Homo sapien for a reason. Maybe you don't understand the meaning of Homo sapien. Homo sapien means thinking man. That is what it means. So learn to put your thinking capacity, your cognitive capacities to work. Don't be lazy. Learn to do your research. Learn to compare information. When you see things on the internet, learn to question it. When you see a blog post, when you see a gossip, that's if you even like, because in the first place, I don't even know what you're doing on a gossip blog. Anyway, if you've been with me for a while, I'll tell you, these guys are the vultures of the internet. Do not listen to them. They are the perpetrators of hate. Learn to ask questions. Learn to ask questions. Learn to get information from credible sources. And learn to compare it, because even nowadays it's even difficult to tell, because most of the people we tag as credible sources are actually perpetrators of disinformation. Yeah, they are. They are literally. So be smart. These are the days of deception. These are the days. We have so much deep fake, right? We have AI like literally pushing out narratives, right? And many times it's difficult to tell between what is true and what is not. So you have to be smart. You have to understand the system and how the system works. So whenever you hear something, ask yourself, am I being misinformed? Am I being disinformed? Am I being underinformed? Or am I being accurately informed? Again, I ask you, before you open your mouth to say, go and check Google, like, from whence cometh your data? From whence? And I'm saying it again, that if your source, your only source of information, your source of information that you use to yap around is coming from Google, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and all of that, you are doomed. Like literally, you are in for a roller coaster and a ride of deception. I hope you found this valuable anyway. If you did, click on the link around this video, subscribe. I drop more of this from time to time, and I'll see you in the next video. Misinformation, disinformation, underinformation, accurate information. Keep your ears open and keep your mind sharp. Talk to you soon.